everyone, it's me, Laura, from The Papered Soul, and this is my third installment for my process series for making a journal. So I just kind of wanted to show everyone kind of the things that I think about creatively and what I like to come up with, like when I'm working with a kit. The kit that I've been working with in this series is Porch Swing Designs Rosewood Cottage. And so I have not been able to get as much this. I wanted like maybe two installments up already. So life has been crazy, and I've just been so thankful for today to kind of be able to just think about the creating and not all the have-to-dos and the should-dos of everyday life, which is what's been happening lately. So I've been just itching to get back to this and get back to this process series. So where I left off the last time, I had chosen my papers and I still needed to cut them, but I also needed to coffee dye them before I started. And so I got them coffee dyed, and then I've cut them to fit I cut them for the height of the this Traveler's Notebook kit. And so I've gotten them in there. That's what I've done today. And I have to say, what I have to do is kind of do a little bit of work on the journal and then think about what I want to present to you. Think about the process that is important, to me or vital to me for what I do. And then that's the thing I want to share with you. Obviously, there's no one right way of making a journal, and everybody approaches it differently creatively, I'm sure. And if you can pick up some tips from me or anything, or even just feel inspired. I want to try to keep my segments shorter. I don't have a problem talking for long lengths of time, but I know that a lot of people might not have time for that, or they might get bored, or, and I don't want to have that impact on anyone. So I am going to keep my segment short and, just try to show you a little bit at a time. If you have any questions, I know I've said in my previous two videos that I want people to feel free to be interactive, ask questions, share things of your own process. I just want this to be a good learning experience and some fun sharing that we all can do, because I know this series might be great for beginners, but it also can be wonderful for seasoned, advanced journal makers that have a lot to offer themselves. So I welcome you to do that. Make comments on the videos as you see fit or feel like you want to. So I really would appreciate that. I had my cup of coffee the last time, but I recorded it twice, and then the second time my cup of coffee was out of view, so I'm sorry for that, because I kind of like the little cozy setup of let's have some coffee and let's do some crafting and let's talk crafts and let's just get inspired. So, okay, so let me take a sip. One thing I thought of, y'all probably heard me swallow. One thing I thought of is, tell me how, if you like coffee or not, tell me how you like it. There's so many different ways to have coffee. I do like mine with cream and sugar, which is bad for the hips. I wish I could wean myself off. I'm gonna try to wean myself off of so much. I like it with the half and half, and so that's not good. But anyway, okay, so where I left off last time, I've got my papers. They're coffee dyed. I ironed them also. I bake my coffee paper. What I do is I spray them. So I had a 12 by 12 pattern papers laid out, and I just did one at a time because I didn't have that many to do. And so what I did is I put them in my pan. My oven was 350 degrees, and I just spray some coffee mixture on it. And then bake it for 350, and I just keep a close eye on it. Don't walk away, make sure you're staying near your oven. And I just keep a close eye on it, and it doesn't take but a minute or two for it to start drying and doing what it needs to do. Then I iron them. Now, I know a lot of people don't like doing that, and it's not that I like to iron. It's just I like the flatness that it gives me to work with. But that's just a personal kind of thing. All right, so let me show you what I've done so far. I ended up kind of alternating the journal kit paper along with the pattern papers and my coffee dye papers. And you really just have to kind of sit down and just play with it, which is just kind of nice to do. And I just because I don't bind mine until I am totally done, and if I get my papers in the order that I like them to be in, I don't want this to fall or get knocked off, and then I lose the flow of what I have worked hard to get. So I just tie it with a little excess ribbon, and I'll keep a hold of that ribbon nearby, so when I'm ready to store it and not work on it, I'll kind of like wrap it up with a ribbon again. These are my offcuts, so I have all of these fun papers that I can play with and pull from when I'm wanting to make pockets or tags or what have you, any elements that I want to add, and I can incorporate that further, these wonderful papers further into the journal. So what I wanted to do was just kind of flip through and show you what I had so far. So I'm just, what I do is I flip through a lot. When I do journals, I flip through a lot because it's a feel. It's a certain kind of feel that I want to get. If I want to look at it and think, I feel good about this layout. A journal is compiled, obviously, of all kinds of things, and it's all cohesive as it comes together. But when you're looking at each individual page, that's your layout, and I want it to be pleasing to the eye. I want it to have interest. That's why, like this piece of paper here, of coffee dye paper, I kind of liked it where this back piece could peek through. So I didn't want a whole cover, a whole piece to come to the very edge. I wanted multi-layer there. I like the way the red kind of plays off the stripes in this ledger paper, which is part of the kit. So on her Marilou's Porch Swing Designs kit, I copied or printed out the journal kit pages, and I backed it with another design of hers. So all of those have a front and a back. And I do that. You don't have to do that way. You can leave one side blank if you want to. But I feel like I have, since I like to work with coffee dye papers and pattern papers, there's a lot of, there'll be a lot of open space that I'm allowed for either decorating and embellishing or the journaling the journaling as well. So that was coffee dye paper. And here is, and see, then that's neat looking here because it lets your ledger, when you're looking at that layout, it lets your ledger paper peek through. So now this one, what I did with my, initially what I did with these papers, my pattern papers, I left them the width, but I cut them to the height for the Traveler's Notebook kit here. But I left the width so that I could play and see what I like as far as having little flip outs, interesting things, flip outs and flaps and all that. And also there's things you can do when I look at this layout, I may decide that I don't want this much red. And I may come in and cut some of this off. But I like to make those decisions, take my time to make those decisions, because once it's cut, you've cut it. But you can kind of play with it like this. So like if I wanted to tilt that in a little and then kind of roll it, you can kind of get an idea of would I like this layout better with having a little bit of white there. I could turn this into a pocket, if I want to. Or if I like this whole covering like that, I can leave it that way. So I've got some decisions to make. We talked about making a lot of decisions, but I just like to get the flow down first. I like to get everything in order the way I like them first. This is one of my favorite layouts. I love this paper. I mean, and it's a gray, a muted gray with a fun little pattern on it. And that's just like this. It matches this perfect. But I just love that. My papers are not. I want to use up my pattern papers. When I first got into journaling, I told my husband I was getting into journaling. I said, well, this is going to be great to use up all my pattern papers, all my paper pads that I have that I've been collecting for years. I'm like, well, this is the way I'll be using my papers. This will work out great. So I really do want to use these papers and put them to good use and let them be on display and work with kits that you know, help pull the kits together and everything. But my papers, I mean, you probably never would have thought, and that's what I love about it. You probably never would have thought, put this design with this. But I like that. I like different designs. I like visual texture also, where you think, oh wow, look at that. You know, it just gives your eye something interesting to look at. Usually when I am putting these in order, I'll kind of do an alternating kind of thing between the journal kit pages, the coffee dye papers, and then the pattern papers. But it's not a hard and fast rule. That's just where I start. And then as I start feeling creative or looking at colors, and I think, well, this looks better to me to do it this way. So like these are two pages back to back from her kit. So, you know, different things you can do. Here's coffee dye paper. I've got that little bit of flip out. And I like this with this because it's picking that red up, or excuse me, it's like a pinkish red, but it also works well with the red here, but that pink looks pretty with that. You know, I'm thinking to myself, when you're flipping through, the ideas start coming. And, you know, I'm thinking to myself, this might be a pretty place to do some of the edge punching right here. Also, another good idea, and I haven't done that yet with this, but you can take like a little Post-it note pad and just peel one off. So you've got the sticky, you know, at one end. And then I'll take it and I'll cut it into little strips. And if I have an idea for pages as I'm flipping through, then I'll jot it down on that little piece of paper and stick it to this page. So if I think I might not remember my idea or whatever, then what I might do is take one of those pieces, stick it here, and write a note and say edge punch, you know, edge punch, or say I want to decide that I want to put a pocket on here or just put lace on it. I'll just write what my idea is, and that way it's on there, and you know, I can move on to the next thing. And that way when I'm kind of looking at what my idea was here, then I might think, okay, that helps me decide what I might want to do with the other page of that layout. So now I love this. And again, this is kind of a, these papers are from My Mind's Eye. I can't remember which edition. It might be the Best of My Mind's Eye. I believe that's what it is. I'll make sure. If I'm wrong, I'll fix it in the description below. But, you know, this just seems like an unlikely piece of paper for this kit, but I love it. And it actually just, it gives visual texture. It's a fun little design. It kind of brightens up your senses a little bit. And I just think it works together. Now, this is a flip out, and again, I'm not sure. I think I'm definitely gonna have to trim some of it off, even if I keep the full cover there. But think about also this. This is what I start doing when I'm doing this process. I start looking at the cards and the other elements that are provided in the kit. And that's a good time to kind of think, well, what would this look like? You know, if you put something over it, it might kind of tone it down a little bit for you. That's pretty. That is really pretty with that. Here's another card, and as you can see, every little card that I kind of hold up to it just offers a different kind of look, a different tone, but it does tone it down. So if you don't like this, and this, you know, a piece of paper, you want to use your papers, but you're kind of like, well, it's a little, seems like a little crazy design. First of all, I say try to be bold. Don't be afraid to jump out there and do something that maybe pops your eyes open. It's, you know, I think that's fun. But isn't that pretty together? I mean, any of these, you know, kind of even that, and it just softens the page in case if you feel like you need it to be softened, you know, which I may do because I like, you know, but I like the paper. These are just my thoughts. I mean, I don't mean to be rambling, but these are just kind of some of my thoughts. I did cut one that was a little shorter because I do like little shorter pages for interest once again. I'm going to try to speed it up a little bit. I'm just sharing with you my thoughts. Okay, so that's the middle. And I'm just going to do one signature for this traveler's notebook. So that'll be the middle of my signature. There's another little flip out of some coffee dyed paper. Like I say, if I want, I can fold it this way and do the flip out the other way. Just whatever you want to do. Like I say, this is the decisions you start to make. I still have a lot of leeway room right now. Nothing is, you know, set in stone. I can always change my mind. And I can still switch the papers and all of that if I want to. Now, while I was flipping through and doing this, I like this, but I'm thinking on this one, and I had this idea. I've actually never done it this way, but I had this idea. I want to make a pocket. So on this particular layout, I don't want this whole flip out. So what I think I will do, well, actually what I had done earlier or later, I cut one of these off in the very back. So in other words, I cut this off of here because I didn't want to flap all the way over. And then I thought, well, that would be perfect to use this piece of paper. It's already the same height, to sturdy the back of this for a pocket. So what I think I'm going to do is glue this paper, and I'll just do it while we're sitting here. I'll do some of these things, but I'm not going to like sit and bore people to death with my gluing process and everything, but I'll tell you about it, and I'll show you some on some level. I've never done one. In other words, what I'm saying is I've never actually approached a pocket like this before. So it's so funny that as you're flipping, it's like you find new ways of doing things, and the creativity just starts to come to you. So I like to have a sturdy pocket. I don't want a flimsy pocket, and that's just me. And I can line this up. Like I say, it's already the same height for the paper, and I'm going to come in just a little bit on that seam. I don't want it to be right at the seam. Close, or the fold I should say. Close, but not right at it. And then make sure it's, you know, really glued down really well. And then what I'll do is I'll come along with my paper trimmer and cut that off, or I can just use scissors. And then what will happen is this will end up being, let's see if I can emulate it since I haven't cut that off yet, but that'll be a pocket. And I just thought that, you know, will be really pretty, and I can edge punch it, I can put lace on it, whatever I want to do. When I cut this off, then of course I have some excess paper in which I can embellish like another piece of, or another page in the kit. So I'm gonna let that dry right now, but that way my pocket has a little bit more sturdy thickness to it, so that when I'm sliding things in, it's not gonna get ripped or anything like that. So moving along. See, some of these I just like them the way they are already. I just love that. Not that I might not add anything to it, but I just love it. I like that. I like the fact in this that her hair has kind of a caramel look to it. Then you've got the brown edges here, and then the brown of my coffee dyed paper, the little dots just match her hair perfectly. I like that. It's just the little things that you start noticing about the kit that you're working on. And some of the pages I went on and cut them so that they'll just be, you know, just a page, no flip out. Okay, and then there's that. Okay, so that is all I'm going to show for now. I'm just showing you my layout and how I did it, and if you're, you know, you can always replay the video and just kind of see what I laid out when, and just the flow of it. I'm not saying I won't change it at some point, or that changes won't be made. Sometimes they will, maybe I won't. I like the flow, I like the look, I like the colors. The other idea that came to me, this is one of the elements in her kit, and it is an envelope, and I was folding it, you know, and everything, and thinking how I wanted to do that. And what I thought I might do, and I had an idea, and I won't do it here on camera, but I think what I'm going to do, because I've never done this before with one of these, is I'm going to back this with some coffee dyed paper. Okay, and so I'll glue some coffee dyed paper on this piece right here. And you know, you can do it really easily. I don't have the coffee dyed paper, but just pretend this is, or whatever paper you want to use. And so, so what you can do, you know, is just put it up to the edge and glue that, and then cut around it, and then it's on there. Simple, simple. It's not like you have to go and measure, and you know, you can just glue it straight. And then cut. Oh, my little kitty cat. Let me get him down. This is Figgy. No, he's gonna jump again. Go on. Oh boy, I was gonna put him up and then I didn't. Anyway, so then what I was gonna do was glue each side and let this have a little tuck pocket right there already built into that cute little coin. It's a coin envelope, I believe, in her design. The other thing I was gonna show you real quickly, this is something silly. I know this seems silly, but these little cute petal, what are they, petal pockets? Well, I was having such a hard time. It's like I sometimes could fold them and sometimes I couldn't. So I'm going to give you a quick little tip on how to fold these. And this one might help you remember. I start with one, turn it counterclockwise, fold, counterclockwise, fold, counterclockwise, fold, and then of course everything was to the left, so the one you tuck under is that one right there to the left, and boom, you've got it. You'll never fumble again on your videos with these little petal pockets. And isn't that pretty little rose? All right, that's all I've got for today. I will, for this installment, and then as I proceed a little further, I'll come up with things I want to show you, things that I think are important about the process for journal making, or for me anyway. Again, I encourage you to be interactive with me and leave your thoughts and let me know what you're working on, or just have a little time to chat on these videos with your comments. Please subscribe if you haven't already, if you want to continue seeing videos that I do. And I hope everyone's having a wonderful November. I just simply cannot believe it's November already. And it's a beautiful day here. I'm in North Carolina, and I hope that everyone's having a wonderful weekend. So thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye.